Well, good evening, everyone. Sorry we waited a minute or two to get started. We just wanted to make sure to see if anybody else was going to join us. I want to thank everybody for coming to this. This will be a brief meeting. Sorry about that. I think I muted myself. We want to give everybody an opportunity to just go over a few things that are payroll related. We feel like this is something we should do on an annual basis. So I am recording this session. So if you need to go back and watch this, we're going to share with other people who weren't able to make the meetings. So again, welcome everyone. I want to let everybody know that we did create a ticket for our annual payroll compliance for each client. So you should have already gotten an email with our new payroll engagement letter and our payroll procedures manual. Now, neither of those items have changed. We've made some modifications to them, but the goal tonight is just to go through and highlight some areas where we've seen some issues. And I want to start by saying that the people who are on the call are not necessarily the people who we've been having issues with, but we wanted to be fair and share this with everybody. So in addition to these meetings that we scheduled, you're also entitled to an individual meeting for a payroll compliance if you feel like that is necessary. Just contact our office if you're interested in scheduling that. Now, once these meetings conclude tonight, each of you will receive a copy of the new engagement letter, or I should say the updated engagement letter, and the payroll procedure manual through Right Signature, which is a digital signature product similar to a DocuSign or something like that. And we're going to be sending it out to you and ask that you review it and sign off on that so that we can put that in our file. And then about the beginning of December, we'll be sending out what we call our year-end draft of employees' information for verification. And what we want you to do is make sure you're looking that over, because when we go at the beginning of January to create the W-2s, we don't want to be in a position where we're sending them to incorrect addresses. Now, at the end of the meeting, we will have an opportunity to take questions. If you'll notice, there's a button on your Zoom meeting that says chat. Feel free to post any questions you have throughout the presentation, and we'll handle all those at the end of the presentation. I do ask if you have any individual employee specific questions to not put those in the chat window, but rather contact our office and we'll handle those individually. All right, so let's get started. I did put a little agenda here today. These are the things we're going to accomplish, and we've already talked about the first one. That's our annual compliance review, and that is our opportunity to interact with you and let you know how the payroll system was designed and how it's intended to be functioning. This is something that we want to do every year. With COVID, we sort of skipped it last year. The next thing we're going to talk about is new employee enrollment and employee changes. So we'll go over a couple slides that relate to that. We're going to talk about direct deposit processing and changes related to that. One of the issues we have had some issues with, and again, I'm not calling out anybody individually, is direct contact to our firm from client employees. We'll talk about that for a few minutes. We're going to talk about late payroll submissions, termination notifications. We'll spend a few minutes talking about the new Delaware minimum wage changes. And then we'll talk about some reporting reviews and upcoming holidays. And like I said, we will have an opportunity for questions at the end. So don't feel like you won't have an opportunity to ask some questions. So let's dive right into this. Now, one of the things that we have had some issues with is new employee enrollment and employee changes. And this is an area where we want to make sure we're being efficient and accurate, and we need everyone to be in the same game with us in doing that. So we created the online forms at our website where all the information is supposed to be entered. One of the things that I want to sort of reinforce today is that all employee information is required to be entered at least 4 business days prior to the next scheduled payroll approval date. So for most people on either weekly or biweekly payroll, that means that we need all employee and changes, all new employees and changes submitted by 5 p.m. on Thursday. Now you'll see on the slide, it says if any information is missing in the enrollment change form, we will contact the client via email or telephone to request the missing information. But if the 4-day time frame is missed, we cannot guarantee that this employee enrollment change will be effective for the requested payroll period. We're not trying to be difficult in this. What we're trying to do is make sure that we have enough time internally to make all the necessary changes so that by the time you go to input your payroll information for the next payroll cycle, it will be reflective of any new employees as well as any changes. This is something you need to communicate to your employees if they want to change direct deposit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. If they want to change their withholding or any kind of demographic change, let them know that you've got to let us know by 5 p.m. Thursday. The same thing goes with new employees. But I don't really see this as being an issue because most, if not all of our clients pay their employees a week behind or even 2 weeks behind. So when someone starts working for you, that should be the cue to, you know what, I've got to get that information over to the accountant so that we can get the payroll set up. So just, you need to make that part of your internal procedure so that we're not having a situation where we're trying to chase down employee information when we're trying to do the payroll at the same time. So as I talked about a minute ago, I got a fancy slide here. Employee changes reporting are reported by accessing our website, which is askralph.com or sajoaccounting.com. And then you click on the button that says forms, and then you'll select either the payroll change form or the new employee form. And at that point, it's really a fill in the blank. And this is just important because what this will do is it will codify all the information we need. It'll create a ticket as well, and you'll get an email kickback saying that this was created. So you'll know that the information has reached us. It's our requirement that all employee information is entered via this online form. We will not accept email or attachments of change documents due to the sensitive nature of such documents and understanding that email by its very nature is subject to unintended disclosures. So what we're asking for here is don't just send us an email with, oh, I've got a new employee, here's their documents. They all need to be entered through the payroll form on our website. And the thing you need to understand is we're doing that to protect you because information that goes by email is not safe in its very nature. Whereas if you're doing it through our form, that is a secure socket or SSL layered form. And to the extent that you want to upload documents, any document submitted must be uploaded directly to the secure Smart Vault or presented in person at our office. We are not responsible for maintaining copies of any forms W-4 or I-9, and the employer retains the responsibility for maintaining these documents as required by the various agencies. We do not hold a position of human resource management, and the client is ultimately responsible for all human resource related procedures and applicable laws. So here's what I'm saying there. We are not the HR for your company. What we are is the payroll provider. It's your responsibility, whoever you appoint at your organization, to make sure you're collecting the W-4 and I-9 information. You're welcome to upload those documents to the Smart Vault, and most of our clients do. But I just want you to understand that it's not something we are responsible for as far as it relates to human resource management. And the other thing you can do is when you do set up a new employee or make an employee change, there is an opportunity right in that form to attach documents as well. So how do we address this for people who don't want to follow the regulations or follow our procedures? Well, the only way we know to do this is effective November 1st, we'll assess a $25 fee for any late submission of new or employee change requests or submissions not in the correct format. We also may not be able to meet the direct deposit deadline for the period where we receive any late update submissions. Now, you will be contacted the first time this happens. We're not going to send you a bill the first time this happens. We're going to give you adequate warning and talk to you about the proper channels. But if this becomes an issue and we're seeing it time and time again, just expect you're going to get an additional bill from us. But bigger than that, we want to make sure that all of your employees' information is entered timely so that it hits the payroll that it's supposed to hit. So this takes us right into our next area of discussion, which is direct deposit processing and changes. And this may be new to some of us or some of you who haven't been with us very long, but we do require a signed direct deposit authorization form for any employee who is enrolling in a direct deposit service or making a change to their direct deposit associated accounts. This form will need to be either uploaded at the time of the employee enrollment or uploaded to the Smart Vault. The reason we do that is this protects you and protects us as well. We have had some situations in the past where either the employer or the employee has provided wrong information. And what that does is then their direct deposit doesn't hit when it's supposed to hit. So we're really pushing and asking all of our clients to do this. And it's not complicated. You should have this form anyway, because human resource management appropriately would have your employees sign off on this. And then what you do is you're just going to upload that document either to the Smart Vault or attach it to your payroll change or new employee request. That way we can use the information that's right on that form to create the direct deposit. Now, some of the big payroll companies won't even allow you to set direct deposit up for your first payroll with a particular employee. And what they do is they submit like a $1 payroll check through direct deposit as a confirmation. I just feel like that's a burden on our client. So I don't ask that that be done. But so just make sure that if you've got somebody that's adding direct deposit, changing their direct deposit, or eliminating direct deposit, that you're using this signed form. And if you need any of these forms, just contact our office and we'll get them over to you. Okay, so this is one of the areas that we have had some issues, and it's something that we really need to address, and that is direct contact from client employees. We will not accept inquiries from a client's individual employees to provide copies of pay stubs or W-2 forms. Any such request must be made by the employer. Each client should provide our firm with a responsible party, which is probably the people who are attending this meeting, who will be providing any payroll-related information. We will only accept inquiries and requests from these authorized individuals. All other requests will be simply ignored since we cannot adequately validate the authenticity of such requests. The bottom line is we don't know who your employees are. Now, of course, we have their name, we have their phone number, we have their email address, but we feel like it's really the best practice for all inquiries to come through you. So if an employee, doesn't have access to their employee portal to get their pay stubs, they should contact you. You can turn around, send in an email or call our office, and we'll get that coordinated. Or if an employee has a question about, their direct deposit or anything like that, it needs to come through you. We do get some employees who have questions about their W-4 and how many, it's not dependents anymore, but the new form. We really are not in a position to address those things in our role as a payroll provider. If one of your employees is interested in using our tax services, then you can certainly have them contact our office directly to schedule an appointment for tax planning or some sort of tax preparation. But in general, no one from your organization except for the payroll responsible party should be contacting us. Which leads us to our next topic of discussion, and that's late payroll submissions. So all payroll submissions, whether they be via the portal, direct entry, or via firm authorized submission method, must be received no later than 5 p.m. on Monday for 3-day approved processing, and no later than 12 p.m. on Monday for those approved for 4-day processing. If you don't know what your organization was assigned by our payroll software provider, then just contact our office and we'll let you know. Most of our clients are on 3-day approval. So what that basically means is that we need to approve your payroll 3 days prior to the payroll, the check date of your payroll. So for example, if you're making payroll on Friday, we have until Tuesday to post those payroll. And that's why we have this requirement for submissions. The payroll deadline for clients who have us mail their payroll checks is noon on Monday. Again, because we want to get those checks in the mail. With COVID, it seems like mail has been terrible. We've had several clients contact us and say that their employees haven't gotten paychecks. So we want to make sure that we're getting those things out the door quickly. Clients who pick up checks or have checks uploaded to the Smart Vault may submit payroll no later than 5 p.m. on Monday. Any payroll submitted after required deadlines will be subject to additional fees, and they're outlined. It says outlined below. They're in the payroll manual. We'll alert clients via email whenever these submission deadlines change due to banking holidays or other processing changes. In general, when a holiday occurs during the week, the submission deadline is 1 day earlier because of the bank holiday disrupting the processing cycle. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation when we talk about one of the holidays. So bottom line is that we need to get your payroll information as soon as possible once your payroll cycle closes. And that's why we give, all of our clients are on the 3-day mostly. You have all day Monday till 5 p.m. Monday to get that payroll information done. And you can always send it over early. If your payroll cycle ends on a Friday or a Thursday or on a Saturday and you're able to send that over early, feel free to do so. It just gives us less to worry about at the last minute trying to get the payrolls done. This is basically just a visual recap of what we talked about. So 3-day approved payroll we need by Monday at 5 p.m. 4-day approved. 4 days are mostly for clients who are new to our firm and they don't have a relationship with us. Same with mailed checks or if there's a mix therein. So let's go on to the next slide, and that's termination notifications. And we've really seen an increase in these over the past couple of months because of all the COVID closures and, clients who have had to let people take, be not terminated per se, but downsized or something like that. So it's imperative that employers report any terminations to our office immediately. These terminations should be reported using the same form as the employee changes as noted in the previous section. So again, go to our website, click on forms, and then employee changes. We need this information to ensure that we have handled any compliance items related to the ceasing of employment. If an employee is not being terminated, but rather being placed in a period of inactivity, we require this information be shared with our office immediately, again, using that employee change form. We will not accept the reporting of these terminations or inactivity via telephone call or any other format other than the submission via our website as noted below. Again, because we want to have documentation to this, we want it to be added to our ticketing system, and we want you to be aware of the process as it goes. If we do not have termination information at the time we receive any separation notices, those are the notices we get from the Department of Labor when they send it out and say, hey, this person, Sally used to work for, XYZ Corporation, and we see that they filed for an unemployment claim. Well, when we get those, we try to handle those for our clients, and we can't handle them if we don't have the termination information. So if you provide us with the termination information, for example, let's use that we just talked about. Well, let's say you let Sally go because of cause. Maybe she missed too many days, or, didn't provide, I don't know, whatever you want to, whatever reason there is. When you make that termination, just make it a point to go in to our forms area and let us know about that termination. If we don't have that information at the time we receive those separation notices, we're going to forward those requests to you, and we're not responsible for any late return of such time-sensitive items. The Department of Labor gives you a certain amount of time you have to respond to these. And unfortunately, to be blunt, most of our clients we've set up for online handling of these, so we'll get an online notification. But I will tell you that the Department of Labor has a very strong bias against the employer. So the quicker we can respond, the better. So bottom line is to let us know about terminations right away. And if you're putting your payroll hours in and you notice there are people on your payroll sheet that are no longer employed, make it a point to go in and create one of those employee change forms for each of those people. Okay, I promised I would talk a few minutes about the Delaware minimum wage. And this is something that is a ramp up to that $15 an hour magic number. And you'll see that effective January 1st of 2022, the minimum wage is going to go from $9.25 to $10.50 an hour. Now, our payroll software should catch these, and Renee will be looking at each of the reports that's processed for any new payrolls happening in 2022. But I would recommend that you go and scan through your last payroll report and see if you have anybody who will be impacted by this, and submit that change form so that effective January 1st, that first payroll that hits will be reflected in that new minimum wage. You can see it goes to $10.50 on January 1st, 22, then jumps to $11.75, $13.25, and $15 in each incremental year. So this is something that we don't have any choice about. This is something we need to do, but it's something that you're going to have to be aware of for two reasons. Number one, you want to make sure that when you're budgeting your year-end budgets and what you're planning to spend on payroll, that you understand, the impact of this. It's also going to impact your workers' compensation. So be prepared that your workers' compensation rates are going to go up slightly because the actual wages that you're paying are going to be going up slightly as well. And, really the third thing is to keep you in compliance, because if the Department of Labor finds that you're not paying your employees minimum wage, they can go back and fine you 100% of the missed minimum wage payments. So that's something we don't want to have any clients get involved in. All right. Report review. And I put these cool like 3D sunglasses on here, or 3D glasses, I guess they're called. And the reason I want to talk about this is that what we have found in practice is if our clients are looking at the payroll reports that we send over in a timely fashion, most of the errors that are created either on our part or on the part of the client can be eliminated. So it's the obligation of the employer to review all payroll reports sent to the client to ensure that the information reported is reflected on the actual payroll process. The timely review of these reports reduces the chance for any processing errors and allows adequate time to make any needed adjustments. As soon as we get done preparing a payroll, one of the steps that we do is issue those payroll reports to you. Now, they are password protected. And for most of our clients, it's the last four numbers of your EIN number, unless you've asked us to change it. I really recommend take 5 minutes, look through it, because you might see something on there. Oh, I forgot to tell you this person didn't work and they're on salary. Or, oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you we have a new employee. Or there's somebody that got an increase in pay. So it's very important you look those over, because once it gets about 4 hours past that, the direct deposit process will go ahead and start, and we will be unable to make any changes directly to that. So here's the bottom line. If there's been an error created during the payroll preparation process, which was caused by our team, we will give the client the option to correct the error immediately or resolve the error in the next payroll cycle. Any payroll processing fees caused by any of our errors will be corrected at no fee to the client. It is important to note that these errors must be reported immediately in order to correct them immediately. So what I'm saying there is, if you've got an employee on direct deposit and, for some reason there was an error made, if we're aware of that right away, we can reverse that direct deposit. If it goes past that 4-hour window or sometimes 8-hour window, then we would have to either purge that check and wait for you to get your money back for that direct deposit, or handle it in the next payroll cycle. If an error has been triggered by a client reporting issue, those errors may be corrected in the next payroll cycle at no fee. So we would just say, for example, let's talk about this person. We had Sally working for us, and let's say you shorted her 10 hours. Well, you could say, well, listen, Sally, I made a mistake. Your next payroll check will reflect those additional 10 hours. So that's option one. There's no fee for doing that. If you would rather, or if you want to say, you know what, I better pay Sally, then we can still do that. We might not be able to meet the same direct deposit deadline. It may be on Monday instead of Friday, but we can process what's called a special additional payroll. And there is a fee for that. It's just whatever your normal processing fee is, based on whether you're weekly or biweekly. In many cases, these areas may involve direct deposit to employees. It may be impossible to recall the payroll to avoid electronic transmission of funds. That's what I was talking about a few minutes ago. We will not be responsible for any fees associated with correcting client payroll submission errors, and the client will retain complete liability in these instances. I'm not trying to be difficult, but we can only process what we are given. If an error involves any demographic corrections, address changes, telephone number changes, any email address changes, we'll go ahead and process those in the next payroll, because there'd be no reason for them to be handled right then and there. So bottom line is that please look at your payroll reports. This is something that shouldn't take but a couple minutes, and it's something that could save some errors in the future. All right, I promised that we would talk about some upcoming holidays. So this year's actually going to be pretty simple. We've only got 2 holidays that are going to impact payroll processing, and the first of which is on November 11th. That's Veterans Day. And because that is, I believe, on a Tuesday, all of the payroll needs to be submitted by the end of the day on Monday. So we're asking that, well, we're not asking, we're saying all clients must give us their payroll by noon on Monday, November 8th for the 3-day processing. And if you're a 4-day processing, we need it on Friday by the close of business. So that would be for Veterans Day. Then the next holiday is Thanksgiving Day, which is on Thursday, of course, November 25th. So we'll need all payroll reported to us again by noon on Monday, November 22nd for 3-day, and then by Friday, the 19th for 4-day processing. Now, the good news this year is we don't have any impacts for Christmas or New Year's. So those will be the normal payroll cycles, because I believe Christmas and New Year's both hit on a Saturday this year, or it could be a Sunday. I don't remember 100%, but those are our holidays. So those are the only changes to the normal payroll processing cycle. All right, well, we have reached the point of questions. So if anyone has any questions, you can type those right into the chat feature, and I will do my best to answer them right now. So I just typed in there to everyone, any questions. So if you see that chat feature, you're welcome to type in any questions you might have. And if you don't have any questions, that's okay also. But I'll give it about a minute to see if anybody has any questions. So just to recap, and if you type in a question, that's fine. Be on the lookout for that right signature document that we're asking all the clients to review and sign. Once we get that signed, we'll put that in your file, and then we won't bug you again for that for another year. Again, if you want to have a meeting to discuss any payroll concerns you have with year-end coming up, feel free to go ahead and go to our website and schedule that, or you can call our office and schedule that. And pretty much that's it. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I don't see any questions. So I guess that it was pretty straightforward what we had to present. So I wish everybody a good evening. And again, if you have any questions, just give us a call or shoot us an email and we'll answer those questions. Everyone have a good evening.